Hey, so when you're working with customers to build your software products, we are always talking about that it's very important in the very early stages of your product to have constant interviews with your customers, to talk with them, to engage with them, to make sure that you have a good understanding of what they need and how your product is going to tailor those needs. Most of us probably also know that when you start to grow your customer base, and especially if it starts to grow at a very rapid pace, you have to start implementing analytics, because then you can see how they're using your product, what they are clicking, what they're not clicking. Are they actually getting the value that you think that they should be getting from your product? But again, analytics might not be great from the point of view that you don't get like the real feedback from the users of why they might not be taking certain action in your product. And there's a little bit of a problem that I see here between interviewing customers, which you can do with a few customers, but you cannot interview too many people at one go, and actually just relying on data. And even combining the both, it kind of feels like very distant and very far apart. This takes me to today's video sponsor, Bettermode. Bettermode offers a way to scale up communication with your customers at the same time as keeping it engaging and relatable. And this is very important because we want to be able to create communities where people feel like they belong to a group of people that are interested in this product, and that the people that are working for that product are also interested in being part of that community. But now let's take a look at what Bettermode offers and how it can help you as a product person. Okay, so now we are here already with Bettermode. I'm already showing the Bettermode community itself, not the landing page, not the website of Bettermode. And here you can already, this is a good place to start, because I think it's always important to start with what is that you can achieve. Let's see the vision of what Bettermode can actually offer you as a product, as the value for you as a product person. And then we will go into how can you actually go and customize a community to suit your needs. So the first thing that we see here is that Bettermode offers you obviously the typical things that you would expect in a community, like a home and a feed. And there, of course, you're going to have the things that you typically expect from these sections of the different sections that are in the community, in the homepage, and what is seen then in the actual feed, what has been the latest that has been going on in the community. Then, of course, you also have things like a knowledge base. Not all the communities have all these aspects into one place. And this is one of the beautiful things of Bettermode. Bettermode wants to be the one place that it combines all these different aspects of community, which can be like discussions, it can be sharing your roadmap, it can be having tips and tricks, also having a knowledge base. So having all these things into one place and not having them separate in different platforms, which is something that has happened many times in the past, and many companies still have it, which can be quite painful for the users because, you know, you had to log in into different services, potentially with sometimes with different accounts, which is not the best. And this is something that Bettermode definitely streamlines and actually makes the experience for your end customers much better. So here, one of the things that you can see that you can do first is a knowledge base, where you can have there like the information about what you can do with your product and the different integrations that you have, how to use it, different types of documentation or learning materials, and so on, which is really great. Then, of course, you have things like product updates. Again, release information is not always maybe listed in the best way. Great to have it integrated into the same environment, to have combined into one portal the information also on your product release. What are the latest versions of your product and what value they're bringing to your customers? Another section that I think that is great is the Get Inspired section, because when you think about your customers and when they join a community, of course they want to talk about your product, but they probably don't just want to talk about your product, they want to talk about the industry they're in. So if your customers are architects, they might want to hear and see and share with each other what are the latest trends on architecture, like, for example, news and magazines and articles that they have found and they want to share with the rest of the community. And if you're providing that within your community, you're making your community much more engagement, because your community is, of course, about your product, but it's also about the industry and their interest that your community has. Great thing to have, in my opinion, again, Inspire section where people can share and actually find more information about how to potentially be better at their jobs. The next section that you can find is the tips and tricks. Tips and tricks, as you can imagine, you can have things there like your typical FAQs, questions, or how to do best practices with your product. One that I really like is the roadmap. It's very important, I think, to have always like a roadmap where people actually can see where you want to go. Where do you have, what are the directions that you are having for the future of your product, and where people actually can vote and can see which ones are the features that you're building and in which stage they are. Another one that I want to highlight is the wishlist. The wishlist, I think, is also very interesting because your customers obviously are going to have wishes about your product. And we know that wishes can be sometimes better formulated, sometimes not that quite well formulated, but you have to understand, for example, that if somebody's asking you to add a new button or a new feature to your product, what is the reason of adding that new feature? You have to always do your research and understand better what problem you're trying to solve with that request that your customers have. But it's very important to have it here because I think that is important from the point of view that this is going to help you to do some kind of market research. So a little bit of understanding of what is the impact of this problem that people have and what my community benefit from me fixing that problem. Really important. And I think that is a very, very valuable section to have in a community. You can also throw the ideas that you have for features to validate them with your users. Anyways, this is all that I wanted to touch about the community itself. I don't want to necessarily do a review of this community, but just wanted to give you a quick glance of what type of communities you can be building here. And before I move on and start explaining how you could create your own community, let me show you one thing because I think that this is very important. So when you're working with a product, when you have a question, where do you try to find answers? If your product is popular, might be that in Google you can find quite many of the answers. If your product is not that popular, might be difficult to find those answers. The next one is that you might look into their website, you might look into their knowledge bases, you might look into the community, and you might look into you might have to log into many different places to try to find your answer, which maybe ends up being with you just sending a ticket to the support or the customer success service in the company and basically just putting more load in the queue, which is never very great. What Bettermode offers, and it's a great solution in my opinion, is a federated search. And this search is going to look through all the different spaces that are included within Bettermode, but also those integrations that you have, for example, towards Zendesk. If you have your support cases in Zendesk, it might find that information there or your knowledge base. So being able to use a federated search is a very, very powerful tool, in my opinion, because it's going to give answers much better to your customers about the problems that they might have. But now let's go and see how you can use Bettermode and how can you edit and create your own spaces. So now I am in the demo community of Bettermode. So obviously I'm not going to be adding anything to the actual community of Bettermode, but it's just a demo community that they have set up for internal purposes and testing and so on. And they have given me access there so I can play around and create spaces and see and show how it works. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just create a new space. So here we can see what spaces are in this demo community. Nothing very different from the community that we saw that they had, the public community that Bettermode has. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just go here to the three dots, and here you will see the option to customize. When I click here, it's going to take me to the actual customizer of Bettermode. So now I'm just customizing this knowledge base, and that's not what I wanted to do. I actually just want to go and create a new space. So what I'm going to do is just, I don't want to touch anything that has been created, but I'm going to just add my own new space. So what I'm going to do to create a new space is click on the plus here, and this will take me to some kind of wizard to actually choose different templates for the different communities that I might want to be creating. So let's take a quick look to what are the options. So I can create discussions, like an online community discussion forum, questions and answers, guidelines, a landing page, ideas, blog, events, product dates, change logs. I just can create a blank page if I want and I know how to use it, job listings, podcasts, and affiliate. So I think that the one that I want to try is are the articles first. So I think that is interesting, and having something like, from my point of view, if I think about what my channel is about, I think that having something like a blog would be interesting to have the articles and long format posts, blogs, and so on. So I could just go here, call it demo for inside the product. And then I can give it a description. There are different sections that you can just choose from, and different options like making it private, hiding space or not, and choose what to show or not the space. Obviously, I'm not going to be touching those ones, but it's important that you set up those correctly when you want to set up your space to be then found by the users. I'm going to do one thing here, is that I want to choose which collection is this going to be visible on. I'm going to be choosing the resources because then it's easy for us then to monitor and see how it's changing. And then you can see live how the new updates or changes that I'm doing in the space are reflected. And now I'm going to go ahead and create it. So now I have created the first page that is going to be the kind of blog style articles for myself. Now here you can see that I have this blob telling me to change the settings or customize them further, my template. And I'm going to just take a look to this one because this is a very interesting area. So here now we can see how Bettermode is actually structured. Bettermode is structured in a way that is basically having container blocks for adding different options to your blog, to your community space, whatever you are creating, the different spaces that you are going to be creating. And here we can see already how does it work in practice. So this is a container that is going to have several blocks in itself. So you can arrange things in different ways by creating these containers. And then the next one is that you are going to have different blocks within the container. And this container, first of all, we are going to have a space header, and then we are going to have an article section. And then I can go ahead and start editing this item. So I can go just here, click the three dots, and here I can show them how do I want to show it. Do I want to show it in a card style, or do I want to show it in a simple style? Let's just keep it simple for now. And then let's go to the settings for the articles. And here is also interesting that I can choose here where the different sources of information that I have in this view are linking. So of course, for the articles, I could just add a title if I want and a description. But then here, the interesting part is how am I going to be showing these articles themselves? So if I go here, I can go on further, actually then customize the look of this one. And I can show what is the information that I'm going to be showing, how it's going to be displayed, how it's going to be sorted. So I have different options for sorting by publish date, by title. For example, I can just change it. I can also change the way that they look. So here now I'm showing them in a gallery style, but I might want to just show them as cards, or I might want to show them as a list or as a carousel. I tend to like carousel, so let's go for that one. And even if you scroll down, you can also have different information that you can show. So for example, I could show tags in case that there are tags. I'm not sure if these ones have tags. Oh yeah, they have. So I can see already what are the tags for the different topics and the different articles that have been published so far. And this is just the customizing side. So now I'm going to save. And now I'm going to go into the demo community here and go to my section, which is visible here. And I can see now that I have it as a carousel view to actually go through all the articles. If I want to add a new article, I don't do it from the customizer, I do it from here. So I add an article here. I could go ahead and grab some image, drop it there, and just give it a title. And you should treat APIs like products, which is a very interesting topic, at least in my opinion. Maybe it's because I worked with APIs in the past. Maybe it's because many APIs are not very much treated like products. Anyways, having said that, let's go ahead and write something. APIs are also a vehicle of value for your customers. I really had to learn how to type properly. And here I can go ahead and add different tags if I want. For example, I don't know, probably this is related to apps and integration. Probably this is related to engineering. I'm happy with that. So I go ahead and publish. So this is the way then that you go and create information, that you go and create articles within your community, within your blog or article section, whatever you want to call it. So if I go here, now I have my new article. I'm showing the tags as I was expected, as I was customizing it earlier. And now let's go ahead and do a little bit of a different space to see what are the options of what you could be doing. So let's go back to the spaces. Now I'll create a new space, and I start with the articles, which probably is not the best one from the point of view that probably when you start a community, you want to do a landing page first. So let's go ahead and do that now. So let's do landing page for inside the product. You can add a description, but you know how fast I am typing now, so let's not do that and let's go faster. And let's add it again to the resources. This is just for the sake of having the visibility and finding it, but you can then here, of course, choose the collections and arrange it as you want it in your products. So if I show you quickly, basically what this will do is that it will arrange it here in this area. So I am saying now that this is going to be under resources. I can choose the different areas where it can be then included. So just for you to know, that's what I'm doing. And that's how you arrange your spaces, that they are then going to be shown in your online community. Create. Now it's creating the space. If I go here already, it should be create. Okay, it's still doing here. Okay, so if I load now, I should have now in the resources, the new landing page. There you are. So here we have our new landing page. Of course, haven't touched it, haven't modified it. So probably I want to now go and again, customize it. This is a great thing. In the moment that I create a new page, it always pops up this small window that is actually, again, suggesting me to customize the blogs, customize the community. So if I go here, because I want to make it more relatable to what I do, what I'm offering, I can go here and then start changing. So first of all, I have a hero banner. Now you notice that in this one, there are different containers. So there's the first container, which is the whole page. But then under that one, there is first the hero banner. And then there is the columns here. The columns is this section here that contains then the main content. And it contains also the this kind of a sidebar. You can see here that I didn't talk about this earlier, but I want to talk now. So here I can always switch on and switch off the header. So it shows me my logo. Of course, you can customize that logo. And then it shows you the federated search and then all the typical ones of conversations, alerts, and so on. And then there's the sidebar. And then your sidebar is basically your navigation bar for the community that you have built. But let's go ahead, first of all, and customize our community to suit more the community that we have. And in this case, I'm going to say that welcome to inside the product. Let's see if I have a banner of our dear ITP, so I can just drag and drop it there. See. So I have my banner here, so I'm going to go maybe for the dark color. Let's see which one. Hopefully that looks good enough. I was loading the image. Basically now it's going to modify and update to the one that I have. I can choose also to change the position of this one. So probably I don't want it to be maybe in the middle. I'm gonna maybe change this one so it just doesn't go on. Go inside of the actual logo, and of course I could reposition the logo to make it look better. So now this is an interesting one that I did show. You have the possibility of seeing how your community is going to work. And now I have been all the time working in the desktop environment, but I could see how it will look in a tablet, and I could see also how it will look in a mobile. So I will have to definitely do something with how this is looking here, and definitely I'm not liking this one, so I'm going to just go ahead. Maybe I go here because they have this Unsplash. So if you know Unsplash, it's this database for images that are free to use. And maybe I'm just going to go ahead and look for something more like, let's see, laptop. What do we find here? And let's put something that maybe is a little bit more neutral and that is not then disturbing too much as our logo is doing now. I could just recreate the logo and position it maybe in a different location so it's not so intrusive as it is now in there. But now if I go here, I can take a look how this will look in all the different devices. Looks maybe not the best, so I'm spending a little too much time with this image. Let's go ahead and find something that maybe is a little bit more suitable, something that is a background. And yeah, let's go for something more neutral that is not that disturbing and that it doesn't make it difficult to read. And now probably I can just go ahead and place it again in the middle because I think that that's going to look better. Yeah, there you go. Now it's better. So now here you have it. Now it's definitely not working badly with the image that I was choosing. And now I can go ahead, just save the changes just in case, as always. And now I can go and continue defining here. So what I would like to see here is main content. So now I think that I like what it is here of the call to action. So for example, I could just go ahead and edit the call to action because I think that is a very interesting one. I could say here that, hey, come visit our YouTube channel. And here talk about, let's say that, do you want to learn more about tech companies and software products? And I could just go ahead, change the button, YouTube channel. All right, and then I can, of course, do URL to the channel, and that will just send people to that one. Okay, great. I can add an image also if I want, but I was not very good choosing the image, so let's leave that one for now there. Save the changes, and now we go back. And now we can see the members of the community. We have this leaderboard of the people that are most active in the community. This is, of course, a demo community, so it's just showing me who are the people that are being most active in this demo community, which is great. But I think that it's always good to have this in the landing page. It just gives you a little bit of a feeling of who is participating in this community, who is most active, and that you see that actually there are people behind this community that are really enjoying it and are working with it. And here we can go ahead and then change maybe a little bit what will be the blocks that we want to see there in the first page. So I think a feed would be good. I think that that's always something that is interesting to have in the landing page. So I'm going to have a new one, probably a row view. Now let's go for the card view. I kind of like it more. I can see the latest activity, recent activity, latest post, most replied, most reactive. Let's just keep it to latest because I think that that's an interesting one. And then you can choose different ways of showing the content. So you can add the full content. So if the articles are really long, it will just list the whole thing. If it could just truncate them, or it can have this expandable content that shows this see more in the bottom if you want to read the whole thing. So let's do that. And now I'm going to maybe remove this one. Don't want it here. And let's add a new block now. Let's add now also another block. I think I'm going to add a block with all the posts that have been added. Not all the posts, obviously, but the most recent posts. So recent posts From the community, I can add a description. I guess that the title is good enough. I am now looking in the current space. So that's the space I created. I don't have a post, but I can just check in the whole community and get the post from the whole community. And I could look here for the different type of posts that are there. So now it's showing the ones that I just created, but those are articles and those are not the ones I wanted to show. I just want to show more the ones that are like discussions. I go ahead and click here for discussions, and now it's going to show me the ones that have been now going on the discussion section. So here I will be able also to change the view because now it's a little bit too big, and I would like to show something smaller. And something that is easier, I think, to read is this one. So I can change now to have the post visible as a carousel. So I can then just go clicking through all of them. And here I can decide if I want to show, for example, a post banner. I don't think that posts typically are not going to have these banners. So I'm going to remove that because they don't look like there is anything that people have been adding. So let's just leave it like that. And maybe let's add the tags because that could be an interesting thing for somebody to just starting to see what kind of tags they have been adding. Of course, we could add things like the publish date. So that's interesting that when was the last time that it was published. And maybe also the member info as well if we want to see who actually was actually adding those ones. So we see a little bit what is the activity, who are the people that are active, and so on. Again, this is a demo community, so obviously not the most active, and it's just for testing and demo purposes. So now, when I go again to my community, it's going to update with what I've done. Okay, now it looks not as I wanted because I didn't rearrange. So let's do one thing here quickly. And if we go back, we can arrange or rearrange the blocks very easily. So I just go and drag and drop it in the new location. I just want first the posts, then the feed, see the changes. And once it has changed, okay, now it's saved. Let's reload this one. And now it's going to reload and show me what it's in the latest, what is the latest version that I created. So first it's showing me now the recent posts, and then it's showing me the feed on all the different areas, all the different posts that have been added. So I think that the feed is a little too big now. Let's just change it maybe to show it in a different way. I think that I can change this from card view to row view. So yeah, now it's a little bit more compact and it's not taking so much space as it was taking earlier. So if I can go here now, I can just go ahead, reload, and now it will show me the changes. And yeah, it doesn't look as crowded, or it's not gonna look as crowded as it was looking earlier. So, but I still go ahead here and I can just click and it will take me then to the actual post. So behaving normally, nothing unexpected there. But this gives you a good idea of how you can go and customize, create your own community, make it look like you want it to look. Now, of course, I'm working with an existing community. If you start with a new community, you can add it as or create as you want, and you can arrange all these different spaces as you need. Another thing that I wanted to touch upon is that for each one of the spaces, of course, I was updating the title, but I could also update the logos or the icons that I was using, and I could use the ones that I create with my own brand, or I could use the ones that are suggested here by Bettermode. But typically here you will upload your branded icons from that follow your brand guidelines according to your product, to your company, and so on. Just going quickly on other things that you can do with the communities that you can manage. Also, what are the type of content is available in the space, and what could be the permissions also. So you could show certain things or hide them, depends on the areas of the spaces. You can also work with the notifications and also then SEO. I'm not going to dive deeper, but something that is important for you to actually make sure that then the content is, for example, searchable then through Google and other engines. And finally, they call danger zone the one where you can actually delete the page, which is obviously good to have there and clearly mark that if you do this, you're going to really delete. Something that is very important is that you I'm not going to touch here because I don't really have that, but you can actually make the community look and feel like your product, like your own website. So that's something that you had to pay attention to, something that you can definitely go ahead and work with and make sure that you are actually integrating the Bettermode more seamlessly into your product. But now let's go ahead and touch upon what are the extra features that the backend features, let's call them, that Bettermode offers you that are going to make your life much more easy. One of the things that I would like to mention is that Bettermode is best suited for companies that are in the medium to enterprise size. So when talking about the backend features that are very interesting for Bettermode, I think that it's very important that we take a quick look here on what are the different options that you can see in Bettermode here in the backend. So I was here in the customizer. That's the place where I was customizing the different spaces and so on, all the work that I was doing earlier. But now I want to take you to different areas. And here, the first one that I would like to touch upon are the reports. So there are a ton of analytics that Bettermode actually lets you track to make sure that your community is in a healthy place, that your community is engaged, that people are really going and being active and posting and discussing and so on. So this is very important that you follow. I'm not going to go through all the different options that you have, but you can have, as you see, first an overview. This is how's it called, the demo community. So it's not obviously very active, but it's just already giving you a good understanding of what are the things that you can actually go and check, like visitors, members posting, and so on. You can also see different metrics like reach and engagement, the people that have been actually being active, the number of posts, how much spaces are visited or how active they are, how they are getting more and more content, and so on. And then the other one that is also very important are the apps. So let's talk quickly about one thing. Whenever you're going to make a purchase decision for a product, the first thing that you look into is the value proposition, which is very important, obviously. And I think that Bettermode obviously is ticking a very important box. I think that Bettermode is value proposition of having a unified customer community platform is a great one. Then the next thing that you're going to look typically is, of course, usability, so on, but then also it's going to be very important for you to adopt one of these products is how it's going to integrate with all the other set of products that you have. And this is sometimes overlooked, unfortunately, some companies are making purchase decisions without looking into this. But for you, if you are really paying attention to what you have to do, you have to see how it's going to work. And it's integrating with the different apps that are out there that are quite important for you to work with and that you are usually working with. Then this is going to be great. So here you have different integrations with tools that are going to be very important for you. For example, Google Analytics, Zapier to automate workflows. You have things like MailChimp. You also have Discord, Hotjar. What else is here that is interesting? Probably that you could be actually working with, maybe Amplitude, Google Tag Manager, not completely sure. Many people are, of course, are going to be using things like Mixpanel, Salesforce, Slack, so on. HubSpot, obviously, Zendesk, if you're using those ones. Intercom, again, very, very important one. Zendesk, very important also if you are using it as a ticketing system for support cases, and you have then some kind of integrations of the support in Bettermode to have the possibility to view those ones and actually for the users to search and actually go into that backend and the federated search thing through searching through different platforms. That's definitely extremely valuable for you. And then you can create your own app in case that you need to. So that's something that there is a possibility there. I'm not going to go through that, but just to let you know, there is a very good portal where it actually shows you the documentation, but it's also going to tell you about things and some examples of, for example, some kind of workflow automation that you could have done with your own app. For example, adding members automatically to certain spaces based on their activities, things like data synchronization, community engagement. So if you want to give posts or rewards for somebody to when they are active for the first time or they're extremely active, that's something that you can do. Rewards, very important when you want the people in your community to be engaged. So definitely very important to have them there. The next one I wanted to talk about, and I'm now showing you the Bettermode's website, is that I think that it's very important to see this one, SSO. This is extremely important nowadays. You don't want to have products or services that your users have to use that need a new sign-on for them, that need them to create a new account. Because nobody wants to be creating accounts all the time, especially when you want that your community is part of the kind of the product and kind of the experience that your users have. Really important, SSO, so single sign-on, they can use the same credentials that they're using with your product, then into Bettermode. Another feature that is going to be very important for you is not just that you can make Bettermode look and feel like your product, is that you can actually integrate Bettermode into your product and make it part of the same experience that the users are having within your product. This can be done for mobile apps, but it can also be done for desktop apps, obviously for web browser apps. So this is very important for you because you can have your community seamlessly integrated into your product. And that's a very important thing, that you don't have to have a navigation or users navigating to a tool that feels maybe relatively foreign, that it feels like it's a different tool. You want them to not to lose the immersion that your product is providing for them. So if you can have that seamlessly integrated, that's a very important thing. And Bettermode has you covered there. And also just quickly talking with the people from Bettermode, you might have seen it missing in the apps integrations. They're going to add also the Jira integration in the future. So that's something that is important. Many people are using Jira out there. Really important to have that integration with the ticketing, especially if you have support cases or people have requests. You could then just link those ones back to Jira. So as a summary, Bettermode is offering a great way to scale up your communication by creating communities with your customers, especially if you are in medium to enterprise companies. And it's offering you a great customization options for you to create those communities in many different ways, from creating the actual discussions to creating articles or knowledge bases. And it's going to actually then integrate seamlessly with all the tools that you use in your daily job. So thank you, Bettermode, for sponsoring this video. If you are interested in Bettermode and creating your online community, go ahead, visit their website, book a demo with them if you're interested. Check their YouTube channel to hear more stories and understand better how to work with Bettermode. All these links will be in the description down below. I will see you in the next one. And remember, stay safe.